I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, May the 27th, brought to you in part by Noromycin by Norbrook. Noromycin 300 LA treats 33% more head of cattle per bottle than the 200 milligram per liter oxytetracycline injectable. It's effective and economical. It pays to compare. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Carcass weights Plunge. The calves are here. We had our actual slaughter information released on Thursday. Come back with your average dressed steer carcass weight at 891 pounds, 7 pounds lighter than the previous report. That's significant. It's normally, if it's moving one way or the other, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 pounds, that's big. 7 pounds less than the previous report is big. It's 27 pounds that we've lost in the last 3 months on our carcass weights. They were sitting way high, record high. They have plunged now. I've told you guys the last few visits that your Nebraska steer carcass weights have averaged 53 pounds a loss in the last 4 weeks or in the last month. They've lost 53 pounds on Nebraska average carcass steer weights. A lot of guys haven't believed me on that. That comes from some research that I get emailed to me. But we're here with the calves. Those calves that the big calves that they put on feed that were too big to do anything else with, and they put them right on a finished ration. They are here, and that they're making up a big portion of our show list already. Now, we've been waiting on them. We've been assuming that they were here. We know that we've seen some of those in the northern plains, but now that our carcass weights are going down, this is significant. And I just hope that our investors, our funds, and all those guys realize how bullish this is. It's very, very bullish. If we're already been in the calves, because that report's 2 weeks old, going 7 pounds lighter, and we're going to continue to move lighter as we go forward. We've already been in the calves for a good 2 to 4 weeks, guys. So the grading is not going to be quite as good. There's not going to be as much tonnage on the market. Your packers are going to have to slaughter more cattle to get the same weight, and they're going to have to dig harder and look harder and hopefully bid up your better grading cattle that will make average choice or better, because that's what everybody wants. They've gotten used to that since we went through the pandemic. We overfed those cattle, and we got all those big giant carcasses that had so much marbling in them, and they graded well, and people got to being used to that. That's what they want to put on the grill. The hell of it is, our box beef cutout values have been slumping here right during our big demand rush for early summer holidays. Why is that? Because gas and diesel are so damn high, and all of our other inputs are so high, and we can't afford to do everything. And when you go to get a hotel, it's 50 to 100 bucks higher than it was the last time you went there. And when you go to get a car, rental car, it's it's 30 to 50 or 60 dollars a day more than what you're used to. Everything is high. Can't get any baby formula anywhere. It's just absolutely ridiculous how much this inflation has gone up, and we don't see it ending anytime soon. So, we may see a little bit of a drop in our demand for beef products. Luckily, we're not in the beef business. We're in the cattle business, and we're short on cattle. And people want them. They still want them. Your corporates have backed off of it, of your cattle, because we've gotten here that we've pulled down here on your fat cattle market here the last 2 or 3 weeks, thinking that we're getting into these bigger show lists and getting into these calves. Well, now we've backed our southern plains market up to where it's about flush with cost of gains on some of these cattle that aren't performing the best. 136, 137, that's about what it costs to feed one. That changes everything. Now we're going to have feeder cattle market being inverted in the southern plains, but guys are still going after those cattle that's got the right kind of condition where they'll really perform in the feedlot, and then they could come in with a cost of gain that's cheaper than what the market level is, and still hope to back those cattle up a little bit. Farmer feeders, they're still driving. They've been driving all through this down market here. They've been driving it this week, late this week, really driving it. And I'm going to show you a quote you absolutely will not believe, but I'll guarantee it's true. And you got to wait for it. You got to wait for the end of the report to get it, because you're not going to believe it. But especially in your eastern corn belt, guys are driving it. The crop is looking good. They've got good emergence. They've got a good stand on their corn already. They can read all these reports that we're going to be out of corn and all these things. And then they see that Russia's kind of holding the grains hostage over there in the Ukraine, because they're not going to let them ship it out. They're dangling the carrot out there, saying, oh yeah, we're going to let you ship some of that grain out. Yeah, right. And then try to slit their throat when they come. You can't trust those guys at all, and they're blackmailing the world, basically, dangling that grain out there that really needs to be shipped, so some of those countries that are close by that have people starving could get it, especially some of that wheat. But I tell you what, this thing has really changed here late in the week. Your market got a snap, your feeder cattle market did, your index levels jumped. And I got to tell you guys all about it here with the numbers. But like I said, I just hope your funds, your investors, and the like realize how bullish things have turned late this week as we get into Memorial Day break. And then after that, we're going to be in the summer. There's not going to be a lot of feeder cattle moving. People are going to be sopping up your retail beef out in the counter. And we hope that they continue and are able to afford that. Maybe they won't go as many places, and maybe they'll stay home and cook in the backyard more. But you guys enjoy your Memorial Day. I know it costs more, but you can't take it with you, guys. You got to do things with your friends and family. You got to go places and keep this money in circulation, right? But I'm going to be taking off and going over to Ruidoso, New Mexico to watch some drag racing. Not going to have a report on Monday. All your markets, your futures and everything are going to be closed. No sale in Joplin, no sale in Oklahoma City. So you guys just go ahead and enjoy your weekend out through there. Talking about your board on Thursday, June live cattle futures up a dime at 132.40. August up 7 cents at 132.60. Your back months were cheaper, but not a lot cheaper, down 2 cents to down 52. But I think when we see these carcass weights more clearly, and we start to digest that, and we see how aggressive these farmer feeders are for yearlings, and I think we're going to see a jump in this live cattle futures as we get back. I mean, we're sitting at such a discount with your live cattle spot June, and we're going to be in June next week, guys. And we're sitting here with the fat cattle trading at a $6 to $8, $10 premium to what the board is. You know, come on, let's get that thing straight. I know the guys that are hedged and that are enjoying that basis love it, but when it's not even tracking any closer than that to what the market really is, it's got to come together a little bit better than that. If you could demand delivery, if those packers could demand delivery easier, and if they had long positions, that thing would straighten right up. But they just it's not set up that way. May feeder cattle down 2 cents at 154.57. August down $1.27. Ouch. That's a stump right there. And then after we run out of May, it's going to be a long wait till August, and we don't have any feeder cattle traded months for June and July. So it's going to be a long wait for that. But man, they took a whack here at them here late in the week. 166.67 for August feeder cattle contracts. Your back months down 50 cents to down $1.32. Your grains were wildly mixed. Corn down 7 1/4 at 7.65. That sounds a lot better than 8 1/2 though, doesn't it? 7.65 a bushel, ending regular trading on Thursday. Your beans up 45.5 cents on Thursday, 17.26 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 4 3/4 cents a bushel at 12.28 1/2. Fat cattle trade had some moderate trading on Thursday. We had it on Tuesday, had it on Wednesday, had it on Thursday, but still haven't really moved that many. They're not needing a lot of cattle in a negotiated manner, that are cattle in loose hands, because they have bought cattle that are delivering 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, and they're delivering right now. They set the market up. That's why it's going down, but it's not going down as fast as what many of us thought it would. You're only steady to $2 lower this week, and that's not terrible. I thought I might be taking 2 to 3 early in the week and another 2 to 3 late, but they still need cattle. The hell of it is, and your regional packers, they're the ones that really hold this thing together, and they're coming in there packing on the better cattle because they need those better grading cattle. And for once, our higher show lists and our calves are hitting the market and coinciding with them trying to ramp up slaughter, and it's not quite as bad as what many of us feared, and we hope we can kind of get through the next 2 or 3 months here and get to fall whenever things look to be a whole lot better, fundamentally anyway. But Colorado didn't have any negotiated sales on Thursday. They've moved about 800 for the week. Iowa 2,400 on Thursday, 12,600 for the week, which is very light, because they want more for them, because they've got leverage. They got the better cattle. They're asking more for them. They're thumbing their nose at the steady bids. For the most part, did have somebody sell some cattle at 138 in Iowa, and we hadn't seen that. That's your $2 lower, because we had some 140 last week, but 138 all the way up to 144. That's only $1 lower than the best cattle that we had last week. But your dress sales, just $1 lower, because the dress sales have been taking a hit the last couple of weeks, but 222 to 227 dressed. Nebraska 3,200 sold on Thursday, 23,100 for the week. That's getting close to what they normally sell. 140 to 142 live, 223 to 224 dressed. Kansas about 1,400 negotiated on Thursday, about 16,000 for the week, which is light for them also. But somebody pulled the plug at 136. The deal was they pulled the plug at 136 on some steers and some heifers and a bunch of mixed pens, which usually includes quite a bit of coon shit, which I'm sure there was quite a bit of coon shit, and they went ahead and took $1 lower than what they've been selling this week, which has been mostly 137. But your packers are wanting to get that 136 advertised. There it is, but I told you the deal on it, and I'm sure that's what it was. Texas just had a load of cattle sell on Thursday, confirmed at 138, and they've moved about 8,000 for the week, which is close to what they normally do, but not near enough to make it a good market. How about box beef cutout values? They were up on Thursday, been down earlier in the week. Choice cuts $263.97, up $1.04. Selects $244.43, up 37 cents. Choice select spread now over $19.50, which you normally expect it to get wide this time of year. Your slaughter, 499,000 up through Thursday. That's a good rate of speed right there, and it's steady with what they had on our big week a week ago. It's 18,000 more than the same week, same time last year. And like I said, your actual slaughter information, 2 weeks old, come in 891 pounds, which is your average dressed or average steer carcass weight. That's 7 pounds lighter than the previous report. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Thursday sitting at 153.62, up $1.51, and it finally caught back up and surpassed your latest available CME cash feeder cattle index, which has been kind of running up a little bit, but it's going to really jump here whenever they get some of these Thursday prices in there. Look at some of your Thursday prices, and the highest quote I've given in a long time, it wasn't even in there because they're not reported and they're not in your RTI. But Pratt, Kansas, and they're not in your 12-state region also, but winter livestock, Pratt, Kansas, 2,200 head, and I know you guys are tired of hearing about it, but those people that are reporting that market in Kansas are totally incompetent. They call the market $8 to $12 higher on yearling feeders, and then they called all the ones that were a lot higher fancy. Well, which is it? Were they average cattle and they sold really high, or were they fancy cattle so the market wasn't that high? People don't train them anymore, and it's a pet peeve of mine. I spent too much time training other people to watch incompetent people putting out market reports. But it was higher. Yes, it was higher. Was it 12 bucks higher? No. Were the cattle fancy this week? Evidently they were, and they sold quite a bit better. But look at one of these fancy rigs on here. A load, 64 head, Pratt, Kansas still, 849 pounds at 168.35. Oh my goodness, they must have been pretty, had diamonds in their ass, I guess. How about Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas? 1,500 head there. Market was kind of in a light test. Wasn't really enough of them anywhere to really get a good trend there. And now they're going on summer break for a month here because not a lot of cattle moving. But they did have an impressive quote there out of Salina on Thursday. 55 head, 785 pound steers, bring 165 and a quarter. Going to give you some other individual quotes, including that big one at the end. How about Stockman's Livestock Exchange, Dickinson, North Dakota, the West Barn. A lot of times it's the East Barn I'm quoting, but this is the West Barn. How about some stockers here? 74 head, 646 pound steers at 194.75. Must not be quite as dry in North Dakota as it was, or it has been. How about Billings, Montana? Billings Livestock Commission. Billings Live could sell those cattle when they got them, and oh my God, look at these stalker steers. 103 head, 615 pound steers, bring $212 per hundred, guys. Big time quote. But the highest quote that I've given in a long time for the way things are at the time and everything, and your Row Grow top quote for the day, come out of Fairview Sale Barn in Fairview, Illinois. The Rex McClure cattle, we've talked about them before. I know the guys that assemble those cattle for him to background. He must leave some meat on the bone, and he sorts the cattle up right, and he always has a real fancy rig for one load, and then he'll have a mixed load, and then maybe a plainer load that's got some crosses in it. But that best load of Rex McClure's yearling steers sold at Fairview Sale Barn. There were 61 head of them. Weighed 842 pounds, bring $172. You think those Eastern Corn Belt farmer feeders aren't getting aggressive? And I thank Brian Curlis, the auctioneer there, my good friend, for keeping me up to date on that. That's your feeder flash for Friday.